Time.
Let's go ahead and get this thing going. Start off the podcast in 3, 2, 1. Holy shit, I got Beto voice. Miguel, what's up, man?
What's up, man? How's it going?
It's going well. I've been sick for the last week. About a week. Yeah, since last Saturday.
You sound like Bing Crosby. You should sing us some Christmas songs.
Oh, all ye faithful. I could be like the bass for the pentatonics. Just like dum 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 dum.
Oh shit!
A natural bass or baritone. How's it going, man? How's the week?
It's been, you know what? Overall, everything's been going good this past couple of weeks. This week's just been really difficult. You know, just scheduling stuff. Getting everything.
Mariachi time.
Mariachi time, full stream right now. It's already Thanksgiving this week.
Yeah,
coming up.
We're not going back to Tucson.
Oh man.
With me being sick, I was supposed to go down today for a wedding. Walter and Serena are getting married today, I think. Unless they're not, put them on blast or nothing like that.
Congratulations, you two.
Congratulations if you guys are getting married today. I'm pretty sure it was today, but I've been sick all week. I've had to work. Thankfully, my boss is like, hey, yeah, you need to take some time. You see, there's this thing called sick time. Use the sick time, if you're going to be sick. It's like, all right, so I still had to work, though. I didn't get to train. That sucked. There's a jiu-jitsu competition in December, like in about 4 weeks. In about 4 weeks that I want to partake in. And so if in December, I can't take gigs because I broke my arm, someone like pulled it right out of my socket. Don't take it personal for anyone watching the podcast if I can't take gigs in December.
I hope they break your legs.
Well, no. Won't.
Then I'll, for your Christmas gift, if they do break your legs, I'll install a rail.
A rail? No. Actually, I think in jiu-jitsu competition, leg locks are illegal for that reason. Because if you get someone in a brutal leg lock and you're in the heat of the moment and you catch their ankle and you just move with all you're going to cripple somebody. But an arm bar or a kimura or a submission and so you get someone really rambunctious, like, oh, I got the tap. Oh, shit, I broke his arm. And that's really how it sounds. You'll get position on someone, and you get so excited because you're, like, adrenaline up, and, like, I got the dominant position, and you go for the finish, and all of a sudden you hear, and that's it. It's like a snapping a finger. That's how fast. And I've heard it in people rolling in the gym, and people pop their shoulder out. And it literally happens that fast. They roll over, and you just hear, and you're like, "Oh shit! Something just popped. Something just broke." And it's like, yeah, they're out for like fucking 2 months. They're just sitting there,
recovering,
trying to get it back. Some people, you got to be careful because, for me, if anything happens to my hands, my fingers, my arm.
No mariachi gigs for you.
No more gigs. I can't.
No more play mariachi.
No more play mariachi. I'll just be sitting here with my chicken wing. And it'll be all busted up.
It'll just be what's that song, that stupid cumbia that un, dos, tres.
I'll be able to play one note. I'll just play one note on the guitar. I'll just be playing an A string with my left hand. Ding 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 ding. It's like, oh shit. So yeah, I didn't think I was gonna be able to do it because I was sick. But I was talking to some people and it's like, yeah, you can probably still do it. I'm like, all right. I was really upset too. I was pissed. I'm like, I want to do this.
Yeah, but your body wouldn't be 100%, right?
That's the dangerous part.
Fighting something.
Yeah, you don't want to train while you're also trying to, if you can't breathe, and someone gets all 150 pounds of their weight, or 180 pounds of their weight, because I'm a lot bigger. They get all that on your chest, and you already can't. I'm already right now. I'm already having a hard time breathing. And you put all that on your chest, and then they go for a choke. It's like a couple of seconds, you'll probably pass out. You'll go unconscious. As they were telling me, I'm like, oh, all right.
I better not. But if I feel good Monday and I do cardio and I can breathe, and fuck yeah, let's do it. Nice.
So how's your youth group?
They are doing good. Group? Mariachi Corazón del Valle. They are doing really, really well.
I saw some videos that you posted. They're very impressive. Good control with the trumpets.
Yeah, because
are these kids from Phoenix? Or?
Well, no. All it is just proper guidance.
Oh yeah.
It's so what I have them do is, before I touch on anything of correcting this, correcting that, going over the music. You know, what they do lack is a lot of just technical stuff, your regular basic, you know, how to bow, how, you know, for me, obviously I'm not a trumpet player, but like volume control is a lot, you know, so that we bring dynamics in.
You spent your whole life sitting next to a trumpet player in your section.
Yeah.
So you kind of know, like, that's a little too forte. Let's bring it down just a little bit. There are these things called dynamics, guys. We're gonna follow
exactly.
We're gonna follow that, and we're not gonna just guess.
But they have that want, that, you know, that hunger.
That feed me.
Yes, feed me. I'm a sponge right now. You know, let me learn everything I can. So what I do is I hear how they play it first before, you know, if I've never heard them play. I don't know, like for instance, El Silencio de la Noche, right?
That's a very technical piece.
Yes.
Very technical piece.
And so when they played it at the trumpets, dan, 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 I mean, it was just like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know, that's, no, we don't. I said, not like that. I said, let's listen to the recording first. And I want you to see how they come in nice and smooth. It's not loud.
Right.
It's called El Silencio de la Noche.
Right.
You know?
Just an oversight.
Yes.
Oversight of what it's supposed to be.
So it took a couple times where I tell them, tone it down. But all match each other's volume.
Right. Don't slow down.
And so you saw the video, how they matched each other's volume, and they came in really, really nice.
Yeah.
And they were just like, holy crap, you know, it sounds pretty good. I said, yes.
Never would have thought of that. Like, that is why you have teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Teacher tells you what to do, student does it. Mm-hmm. It's a really good dynamic and good relationship when it works well.
My violinists, they all could read music super great. All of them.
Nice.
All of them. They are that's one thing that whoever taught them before, thank you for teaching them how to read that music really, really well. So
helps.
I really don't have to, you know, much to show them on the music, you know, unless we, you know, when we go over our parts, but you know, what music doesn't have is the accents, you know, the proper accents, you know, where some arrangements don't.
Some lack the articulation and the accents on certain parts, like syncopation. Right? You have certain beats that are more emphasized than others, and the violins need to follow that too, right? They can't just be stagnant. Da, 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 da. It's like da 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 da. You know, it's like teaching that stuff is good. How's your rhythm players?
So my rhythm players, my guitarron player, she is really good at reading music. I'm working on her jalón. You know, she has the tendency of slapping the string a lot because she has a pretty hard jalón, but might be the bass, it might be her. I don't know. She played my bass, and I didn't hear any slaps, so it might be her bass. I don't know. The vihuela player, he is actually, he's pretty good. Same thing, you know. I just gotta work on how he holds his vihuela. You know, because he kind of holds it inward.
Up like this?
No, more like inward, low and inward. Yes.
Interesting.
So I've corrected him, and I've, you know, showed him, and he's actually getting it down now.
Leverage.
Leverage.
Good angle.
Yep.
And these work together. Yeah, the little Frank angles, I call it.
Yeah. No. So his manicos are getting there. I've had to really, you know, show him how to, you know, forte on this part, and, you know, give the son it's respected.
How to play it?
Yeah.
Well.
Not
just fast.
So I go and like I told all my students, I said, if you guys cannot play El Son de la Negra at this speed and sing it, you know, properly, play your parts properly, we're not going to go over any other son. I said, this is the mother of all sones. You have to know the son.
You got to get this one right.
Yes. So we've been doing that. They've been doing really good. They've, like I told you, they're in a showcase right now. They're going to be playing tonight. They got to play with the Nuevo Tequilitlan on stage.
Oh, yeah.
For their concert. What was it? The 10th. The 10th when they came up here last weekend.
Yeah, that's right. They were here.
And what how do you say it? Los Calibre? I don't know what.
I don't know.
That all female group. They were here as well. And then, but yeah, they got that experience, which is pretty good because they're between, I think, 15 and 19-year-olds.
So it's not a high school group; it's just a youth group.
Yes, because it's outside of.
That is difficult, man. That's the best part when you're a teenager and you get to go to those conferences or you get to go to those showcases and like, hey, there's a youth group here, just perform and here showcase, and then it's like, okay, and then you get to see like the professional level guys do it, and it's like, oh, whoa, wow, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, even like when I was one of the first shows I did when we opened for Mujer Mil, and it was like, oh wow, these are very well practiced musicians. It's like, all right, guys, we're gonna go practice now.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as we get back to Tucson, I want practice, more practice. We did okay, and then like it was weird because some of the girls in the Mujer Mil group were not that much older than us. Like we were 18, 17 at the time, and they were like 19, 20. Like, just a couple of years of difference here makes a big difference when you practice, right?
I'm really hard on on my students when it comes to preparation. I told them, you have your individual practice at home. So when we have our mariachi practice, it's a group practice.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm not going to spend 20 minutes on a section here and 20 minutes, because I think it's unfair for everybody else, So
it's like at that point, you're spending those 2 hours like, okay, I see something here, I need something there. And if you're having an individual problem, it's like, oh man.
Yeah, that's what private lessons are, and that's obviously what what I've told them. So overall, they're doing very well. This is already going to be Christmas season right after Thanksgiving. I wanted to ask you what you think about, and our audience as well. Definitely, what do you think about playing Christmas music?
I like it. Personally, I like it. And Tapatio, we used to always do Christmas shows, right, for the Gaslight. And I think that if you're going to be playing, we had the luxury of having our director also be capable of writing arrangements. So if we had an idea, right, like we did Baby It's Cold Outside one year.
The Grinch?
We did The Grinch. He wrote that music, right? And he played the piano with it. That sort of thing, I think that lends itself more to the versatility of mariachi music in general when you can do it well. If it's a knockoff, if you're just copying the Camperos Christmas album, or if you're copying Sol de Mexico, it gets a little like, okay, that's fine. If you copy it well, if you play it really well and polished, then okay, then you're there to spread some Christmas cheer, right?
Yeah.
I like it. When you can write your own arrangements. And even singing in English, that Baby It's Cold Outside we did, I didn't listen to, what I was listening to was like the Ray Charles recording, because I was going to be playing bass during that song. And so I'm just listening to all the jazz bass parts. So it's like, okay, so there's a lot of sliding sevens in the bass. It's like dun 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 dun.
Those little walks.
Yeah.
Those cool walks, yeah.
It's a chromatic walk down. And it's like boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom. It's like, if you don't know how to do that and you're just guessing, then it's like, okay, that's a little cheap. Right?
Yeah,
it's kind of a hack. But if you can listen to Ray Charles, if you can listen to all the old Christmas songs, and then they got some of the greatest bass players in those recordings in the United States or in the world, right? In the last 100 years. So learn that, and I went back to Beto. I said, okay, I listened to this version. I listened to this. I'm going to do this run with you. And in the video on YouTube, you hear it. He's playing the sliding 7 chords, and I'm playing the bass along with him.
Nice.
Like, that shit is dope, right? When you can do that with mariachi, right? I like it. I like Christmas music in general. I'm one of those.
I know, who doesn't? Who doesn't? And the reason why I asked is that's a perfect example. I remember when you guys came out with that arrangement, right? And I guess this kind of leads into another subject, another kind of gripe. Let's just say, my gripes.
I had a feeling this was going to be Miguel's gripes about Christmas music and mariachi.
So
let's hear it. Let's go.
You remember with Mariachi Reyes, with me back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah.
We were kind of like, I want to say we had a lot of influence, or Luz de Luna had a lot, gave us, a lot of that influence, of playing English and Spanish,
very
English
jazzy.
and Spanish, right?
Very jazzy.
And so, like, when we would come out with just certain arrangements. Like, for instance, when I played Under the Boardwalk, we did English and Spanish, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing when you guys came out with, Baby It's Cold Outside. Why is it that, everybody around us, like in our little community or whatever, or even outside, if somebody heard it, they would like kind of like talk shit basically, and say, oh, why are you guys playing that? But then let's just say, mariachi, one of the big professionals came out with that song, then it's okay.
Well, is your gripe more so that if a kind of, because I wouldn't call groups like that necessarily amateurs, borderline semi-pro, I guess I would call groups like that.
Well, I mean, if you're getting paid for it, I mean, you obviously got to be, you should be called semi-professional.
Yeah, that's another contentious thing we should talk about after this. If you're getting paid, you're a professional. Like, I don't always agree. But
yeah, well, that's true. I mean, if you're depends. But I'm saying as a group.
Well, I don't know if it's so much that people. It's how well does it come out, right? Like, does it come out really well and people are knocking it and it's like, okay, you're just a hater?
Well, regardless whether it comes out, because everybody's gonna have their own opinion. Everybody's gonna have their own opinion.
Well, there's some objectiveness. Is that a word? That's not a word. There's some objectivity into how well a performance goes, right? Mm-hmm. So if you take out an English arrangement, that's if you cross genres, right?
Yes.
If you perform it well, you knock it out the park, then who's there to say that? Who's there to talk shit, right? That's just a hater at that point.
I can give you a list of names, but we're not going to go there. But I'm just saying. If your group, if one of the, for our viewers out there, if one of your groups, if your group has recorded, I don't know, Margaritaville, for God's sakes. Well, let's just say Margaritaville. That's a different thing.
That's a pop tune.
Oh, yeah.
See, I'm not really into mariachis playing pop tunes. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you talk about Christmas music and like Christian music, that Christmas music is Christian music, mm-hmm. Right? It's not fucking holidays. It's Christmas, all right? Mm-hmm. I'm not even Catholic. I'm not even religious, but I respect the origin of music, mm-hmm. Right? It's in the church. Classical composition. Those are Christmas tunes. Mm-hmm. You're going to play Margaritaville or Tree Want a Taxi or Stairway to Heaven or fucking Devil Went Down to Georgia, whatever it is. Yeah. Those are pop tunes.
Okay. Well, but like I said, okay, whether it's Christmas, whether it's English, whatever.
It's crossing.
But it's not mariachi.
Mariachi.
Okay, yeah. Let's just say it's not mariachi. It's
not campanas and all that.
We're just interpreting with our instruments, right?
Right.
So why is it that when if us amateurs compared to, let's say, the top groups, the top mariachis in the world, tier. Right? We do something and it's not okay, it's not cool, but yet let's just say Vargas comes out with the same song, maybe a better version of what we did, then all of a sudden it's okay, and then all of a sudden everybody wants to play that after they really trashed you down for it.
Well, I mean, if it's peers, like if I run a group and you run a group, mm-hmm. and I write an arrangement for a classical song like Silent Night, and I write it. Mm-hmm. I mean, Silent Night, there's not much you can do with Silent Night. You can probably change up a little bit of the transitions. You can change up the interludes a little bit. Mm-hmm. You can flesh those out. But you got to be careful when you're doing that, because you add a lot of fluff when you flesh things out and you expand chords. And sometimes when you do that, you do it too much, and it sounds like over dramatized shit, right? If I write that arrangement, you write that arrangement, right? So it's the same song. Mm-hmm. If your group performs it better than mine, then there's like, okay, the musicians interpreting that piece, and maybe the piece itself was better. And then there's something to say, well, Jason's interpretation of that wasn't very good, right? Maybe he went too far out, did too many things, added too many elements. Miguel's was very straightforward. That kind of peer-to-peer thing, I can understand people going back and forth and gossiping. Right? Mm-hmm. The difference between a semi-pro group who's like really well polished, maybe not as well polished as say Nuevo or Vargas, versus them taking it out. I mean, who's? It depends on who's doing the shit talking. Is the shit talking coming from, a classical musician? If a mariachi group goes to the U of A School of Music, right? Or does a performance at Centennial Hall, and they take out an interpretation of Bach. That would that would get a little bit of the nose in the air, like, hey, what's this mariachi doing playing Bach? But if we do it really well, and that classical musician says that was a fantastic interpretation of that, then I hold that in more regard, right? Versus a high school student who's like, oh, that's Bach, what are they doing? Or maybe even a peer who's not a professor, who maybe isn't even a trained classical musician, saying, oh, what is that? They're doing Bach. It's really so it depends, right? I will and make an analogy to fighting, right? I train jiu-jitsu. I'm not an MMA guy. I've been training martial arts since I was like 4 years old. My dad was a black belt. It's just been a part of my life. When people look at like guys in MMA, when I watch MMA and I look at like, oh shit, that dude is getting clobbered. He's tapping. He's done. And then you have someone who's like, really, you're going to tap that soon? Really, you're going to quit? Oh, it was just a choke. Oh my God. You're like, bitch, have you ever trained? Do you know what it's like to have somebody's full weight on your back and have all of their pressure with their forearm and their back and their legs and their hip and they've been training their whole life just going, just squeezing the fuck out of your head, right? You're not going to tap to that? So that's kind of how I see it, right? Now, if a jiu-jitsu black belt sees that and says, damn, he held on to that choke and he didn't tap for like 5 seconds. He's a fucking gangster. He held on. He was going to hold on to that until he was going to go unconscious, but he couldn't handle it anymore. I would hold that perspective and that professor's opinion like, okay, has better credence because he trains. He knows what that feels like. He knows what that means. Versus maybe someone like myself, if I were, a shithead saying, oh, you're going to tap. Like, what am I? 3-stripe white belt? I'm nothing. So it depends, right? Same thing. It depends. How well is the performance? How well was it executed? How well was it intended, right? And who's doing the shit talking? That's my deal. It's like, if it's someone who's not a well-practiced, classically trained musician doing shit talking, I'm like, okay, go gossip with the viejas. I don't really want to hear it. If it's a professor who says, that was really technically not well conceived and poorly executed, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Fuck. Makes sense.
That's my perspective. If it's just some random peer, it's like, okay, thanks for your opinion. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Go practice.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, we'll see you at practice.
No, that changes. That changes things, but But I'm sure you and the viewers know where I was going with that.
Yeah, it gets frustrating, right? Because if you're trying to do something different and you're not the top tier, top shelf, you get a lot of criticism. You get a lot of criticism, and I think I know where you're going. Was like, what's the difference between a well-trained musician or working musician and then someone who's just famous? It's like, well, they're famous, right? So there's probably a reason why they're famous.
It's like their name. It doesn't matter. It's like they have their name already. They met,
Yeah, and it only goes for so long, right? So if some famous person starts doing that regularly and starts to do it poorly, yeah, they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose, right? And like if Luis Miguel starts doing Christmas albums and it sounds like shit, and it's not well written and it's poorly executed.
It's like Cristian Castro when he came out with that mariachi CD. That was the worst CD ever.
It sounded horrible. It's like, it's not just, when you're going to do a recording, it's not just how good are the musicians you're hiring, how well is the arrangements that you're signing off on. How good is the studio producing the mix? Because, like, the balance is so off. It's like the bass is like, boom, 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 boom. And the trumpet like, it's like, and then this voice guy is like singing over here off to the sound, and you got the vihuela like out here, like, what is going on with this shit?
THX surround sound or what?
Yeah, is George Lucas making this mix? Sounds horrible. So there's layers of objectiveness and subjectiveness, right? The subjective part is, why are you crossing genres? The objective part is, how well did you execute crossing genres, right? Because I think everybody agrees that everyone likes winners. Nobody likes losers. I'm sorry, in this nerfed world that we live in where everyone gets a trophy, I get it. I understand that it doesn't feel good to lose. But that's how you get people that don't put out shit as products, right? Mm-hmm. Is you have to have people who lose because it creates a standard, right? Ooh, man. I just said a word. I just said standard. I'm touching.
That's a very, very important word in the in the PlayMariachi world.
So I think we addressed your gripe about trend setting versus doing some weird shit. Now we're talking about professionalism once again. So standards and what defines a professional in the mariachi genre? Is it I get paid every weekend? I'm a professional. I have never taken a class of theory in my life. Is it
because you're on the big stage all the time?
Are you on the stage all the time, but you don't know theory? You couldn't build chords out to save your ass out of a paper bag? Is that a professional? What's the professional? This is the whole point of the PlayMariachi podcast, to talk about this kind of shit, because I would consider you and myself professionals. We practice. No one tells us to practice. We practice. Mm-hmm. We do no theory. You sing very well. You were trained by opera singers to sing that well, right? I went to school of music. I play 7 instruments because of it. Mm-hmm. Professional, semi-professional. When I say semi-professional, it's because we both have day jobs, right? When you're a full professional, full 40 hours, full employment is music, and that's what you're a professional. Mm-hmm. And you have stake, right? When you're a professional and your full 40 hours a week is to music, you don't fuck around. You're always on time. You get lead sheets. You practice. You do rehearsals. You get paid for them. And you are in and out there quick. And the product is amazing, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone depends on you. Everyone calls. Miguel, we need a bass player. Jason, we need a guitar player. Every time, comes through, delivers an awesome product. Everyone's happy. Kind of like the group that we started. Mm-hmm. The couple of gigs that we've had in the last few months, the feedback I've gotten is everyone's happy. Because I won't bring shitty people to this gig.
No negativity.
I won't bring that. I just won't do it. I said, here's what we're gonna play. Mm-hmm. And the guys that we've had play with, they've all had a good time. They've gotten paid. They want more. It's like
I think all groups should kick out the negative people in your groups, man, and let them form. I don't know, mariachi miserables or something.
Miserables. You know what?
Mariachi marros.
You know, that's what I say to haters. You know, it's one thing to get frustrated and be tired and like, I'm sick. I don't want to hear this shit right now. You get passes throughout your life, right? You have kids, you have wives, you have girlfriends and boyfriends and all the shit that happens, and jobs, school's a big one, right? But if you're constantly in that negative mood of like, oh, why do we have to do this? Yeah. Why do we have to play outside? Why do I have to even fucking exist? It's like, I don't know. Why do you? I don't want
what
you
are you
here
doing
anymore.
Here? Yeah, get out of here. Just go.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the animosity is with the varying levels of technical ability and capability, right? If you're a very high level person and you're constantly playing with lesser people, 2 things should happen. Possibly one of 2 things should happen. You should rub off on them, right? If they're receptive, you should be a positive influence to that group. You should make them better, right? The other thing that can happen is they are either not receptive or you're not giving. So you're going to clash every time. Mm-hmm. And eventually you're going to get frustrated. I've been guilty of this. I've played gigs when I was younger that technically I was a little bit better than the older person that I was playing with. Mm-hmm. And I kind of realized that real quickly. I was like, this guy really struggles with basic stuff. And I wasn't... He wasn't receptive and I wasn't forthgiving. I'm just like, no, fuck this. I'm just going to do my thing. And eventually I got so frustrated. I'm like, God damn, dude, can you just play it right? Mm-hmm. Can you listen to a CD? Can you practice for once in your life? Created animosity. Mm-hmm. He didn't like me after that anymore, right? He's like, well, what do you think? You're so fancy just because you go to school of music? What do you think you are, Mr. Hot Shit? And it's like, you know, at the time I thought I was. And that was a mistake on my part. Mm-hmm. I fucked up, right? Mm-hmm. I got arrogant, I got cocky. And that was a lesson that I had to learn. Now that I'm older, if I come across that, I don't have those problems. I don't get frustrated as much.
Yeah.
But professionalism, how do you deal with that? Like, I mean, you play with You play with everybody around here.
I've played with all levels. Every single levels.
You owe me some shit too from our previous play.
Yes.
So this is gonna come back full circle.
Yes.
You have a load of shit to give me for how poorly I played at our last gig.
You know what I've noticed though with you, Jason, is that you seem nervous, dude, when you play.
Really?
Yeah. You kind of give me that impression, like
fuck.
Like don't mess up. Don't mess up. Just listen. Keep the tempo, keep this. But before we get into that, I played with all levels of musicianships. Mm-hmm. Really, really good ones. Obviously, better than some that are way better advanced than me.
Way better than you.
Way better than me. Not some that need still a lot of practice.
They need some seasoning.
Yes.
And then guys that just don't give a shit.
Yeah, and then you guys are just there just to get paid, and that's it.
Get them $50. I don't care how it goes.
And overall, I think if they're not gonna be receptive to you, I don't want to say go down to their level, but you do have to step back a little bit.
Just let them do it.
And simplify what you're gonna be playing.
Oh yeah.
Why am I gonna keep all these fancy parts in there or all these fancy manicos? Then you know what? Then if you're not gonna be receptive to me, or then I'm gonna have to simplify it.
Yeah, it's just like okay, I'm gonna go back to just playing. I just noticed that camera is really off on angle. Your face is just barely in here.
Really?
Yeah.
That's okay. They can hear my sexy voice.
They can see your nose. I'm gonna fix that. That's gonna bother me for a second. Here, keep talking. Keep talking to the viewers.
Anywho's. So viewers, yes, right? I mean, would you agree with me? You kind of have to simplify what you're playing, because if not, you're just gonna create animosity. You're gonna sound really bad, and you know what I mean. You're gonna hear all these different things happening that don't make sense.
Yeah, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna sound conflicting. Like I played a gig a couple weeks ago, and I go into it automatically just play very simple. Mm-hmm. Don't play too loud, because I have instruments that are very well built, and so the reason that I have well built instruments is so I don't have to play as hard, right? Mm-hmm. And the sound still kind of comes out. And then I was like, ooh, I'm playing a little too loud. I'm playing louder than the rest of the group. That's not good. I gotta tone it back, take it easy, Yeah, you gotta be able to make those mid shift adjustments and be happy and be amiable and hey.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy doesn't really play a song like a song should probably how I think it should be played, but let's just just keep the time with him and
that's all you can do, because if you're playing one thing and he's playing a totally different thing, all you can do is just clash musically. Bum 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 bum. The instrumentation is just gonna be awful.
Yeah, it's horrible. So don't do that.
Yeah.
Take a step back, guys. For the viewers of the PlayMariachi Podcast, put your own self in check. Mm-hmm. If it's not technically the best thing, I mean, there are levels. When you're on a stage, fuck that. Whoever wrote the music, play it how it was written, right? Unless you have that relationship. So that's really the thing about it is, it's a relationship between the person who's directing the group and each member of the group. When I look at Mariachi Vargas, and I look at their vihuela player, awesome musician. But he oftentimes does his own thing. And it seems to me that everybody's cool with it, because he adds a little more authenticity to that instrument in that group, back to its original root of what it is, and kind of an advanced level of performance. He doesn't just play everything the way Pato played it. Mm-hmm. He's not a copier. He's just not a copy of Pato. He's his own person, but he carries all the stuff that was before him. He brings it into the ensemble. He keeps it, and then he does kind of his own thing, sparingly, where it fits, right? Mm-hmm. And that's to me where you have real evolution. Not just like a Zombie was saying in his video that you were talking about, like just playing super fast, super complicated rhythms, like fucking drumline. It's like that's not always the best thing, right? Where it fits and understanding in the piece you're playing where and how to make that fit is really, as a rhythm player. I mean, I don't know about violin or trumpet. I'm sure that they have the same type of thing, right? I mean, melodies are melodies. You only get 3 notes in a chord, or maybe 5, 6, 5 notes at the very highest. If you're playing really weird, augmented chords or jazzy 7 chords, as a violinist, you might have some range. Trumpets, you get 2 parts as trumpet. You don't even get to form a full chord.
No.
It's a little hard. Harp has a much easier time doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But they still have to, I was talking to Adrian about that, they still have to conform to what the violin and trumpet section is doing because they can be overpowered by both. Mm-hmm. And they have to conform to they have a hard time. So that's the definition that I think of in my mind as professionalism is, are you capable of executing all these things? And are you first aware that all this shit is happening? Have you studied it? And then what's your level of execution? Like, how close or far are you from becoming world-class as a musician? That's what we talked about in the podcast with Adrian, too, is that's kind of his next goal. As good as that guy is, he himself is like, I'm nowhere near world-class yet. And that's where I want to get. Like, I need to spend more time focusing on becoming a world-class harpist, period. Mm-hmm. And then once you get there, I mean, you you usually get there when you're in your 30s, 40s, maybe 50s. Mm-hmm. You're a real master. Okay, now it's time to pass on and perform, right? Mm-hmm. Be an example. Be like Paco de Lucia. He was a world-class guitarist. And like Ray Charles, world-class piano player. Mm-hmm. How do you get there? Practice.
That's it.
Lots
you
of practice. Just sit there in
have
your
respect
room.
for your skill and practice.
Yeah.
Don't go out there and just,
screw
around and
do whatever. Partying, making up excuses, sleeping in, not getting shit done. That's a big thing with me, man.
Yeah.
So for my lack of ability for performance, so you owe me about a week's worth of shit for the gig we took. And I wasn't really nervous about playing as much as I was nervous about the gig. I mean, they started late. I'm sitting there. I'm like, I got these guys. I have to run this now. I don't like it. I don't like the stress. It's like, what does everybody want to play? What does everybody want to sing? We don't have a rehearsal under our belt. We're kind of just pulling this together, and we're trying to impress people. It's the worst situation to be in, is winging it like that. We pulled it off. They asked for additional hours.
Yeah, no, we did, which was good. I think,
but I was fucking up big time.
Yeah, I think it was like what I've talked about before for bass players. If a guitarron player knows the song, where it's going, where it's leading and all that, then we should be the guide for the rhythm. If I'm going to go to segunda, I'm going to switch to segunda. If I'm going to go to tercera, I'm going to go to tercera, whatever. Back and forth. But as long as we give that lead note, that.
Yeah.
Which
you weren't, by the way.
I was. I was. And you still, it seemed like your mind was like going in a couple directions.
A little bit. I was kind of keeping track of time. I was keeping track of, where everybody is.
Hearing everybody's instrumentation.
In my defense, now I'm going to make a nice big old platform of excuses here. I'm going to go ahead. Hey, you know what? I'm going to build this little thing.
Where's the violin? Where's the violin?
Where's the violin? Yep, bring him in. I'm going to build this little thing for you. Before you shit all over it, you're going to shit all over it. But before you do, let me just explain myself. And then you can go ahead and take a nice big hairy one on it. That Sunday, I had just taken an engineering midterm. Now, for our viewers out there that study engineering, math, science, any STEM field, you guys know that unless you're a genius, which many of us are not, myself is included in that set that is not, it's very fucking hard. It's a lot of Sanskrit to most people, right? Mm-hmm. Now, to be perfectly honest, what's on my whiteboard right here is basic integration. This is like I'm a 19-year-old college student, first year engineering kid right there. Mm-hmm. That's the level of math that is. I'm in my third year of engineering, and now it's being applied to systems analysis. Very complicated. It's so straightforward when you read it, but when you're taking tests, you're like, is this a partial fractions thing? How do I decompose this equation? How do I build the equation? Right? Am I building it correctly? Am I counting for all the variables? There should only be 2 or 3 variables here. So I had taken a midterm that morning. I had spent previous like weeks studying my ass off for it so that I wouldn't fail it. And I did that about noonish before our gig. It was a 2-hour test for 7 questions. And you're just sitting there like, how do I do this? So I was so fucked up about that test that when it went time to pay everybody, like I was questioning my own math skills. I'm just like, is this really okay? Is this divided by? And I was right off the bat the first time. I was like, it's 75 a piece, right, for each hour. I knew it, but I the problem was I wasn't confident about it because I'm just sitting there like, is it really? And you guys picked up right on it. You guys giving me all kinds of shit. You're like, what's up, Mr. Engineer, Mr. Math Genius? You don't know how to do simple division. And,
you're going to destroy us. Carlos was telling you're going to destroy us.
I know. And it's because I'm like going through an engineering midterm is like the intellectual equivalent of a sexual assault. Like you didn't get raped. You're fine, but you're in a really bad place and things, some counseling is needed. Right? It's not as bad.
That's a pretty bad analogy.
That's how it feels. And I'm going to stand by that analogy because it's correct. That's how it feels. If you haven't gone through it, you don't know what it's like. And that's exactly how it feels. Well,
musically, you raped us that night.
I passed it on to you guys. I didn't do too bad. I did fuck up
on some songs.
On some songs. Like basic stuff that I just forgot it was back there somewhere. And I'm like, oh yeah.
And here we are lecturing people about learning your stuff.
That's fine. Because you have to live by example. That's why I brought it up. I'm like, come on, give me the shit. Okay, now that I've built my little soapbox and my mountain and monument of excuses.
But then I showed up late.
You showed up so late.
No, I did not so late. I showed up 5, 7, I don't know, 8 minutes late. Oh. But luckily, they were still running behind.
It was so lucky that they were behind because they were so stressed out about the whole day. And I'm like, fuck.
Their caters and all that stuff, everything.
Yeah, they were a little late, and they were just. You've been through the shit. It's so stressful for our PlayMariachi viewers who haven't gone through a marriage or a wedding or any of that kind of thing. So stressful. I mean, unless you're loaded, if you got dollars to hire someone to take on the stress to plan everything, and all you got to do is just sit there and drink scotch and show up. Yeah, it's a great time. But if you don't have that kind of cash, you got to do the shit. And you got to deal with all kinds of people, and really for me it was I didn't want my wife to have to deal with that because I knew it would have. She's brilliant, she's beautiful, but the stress of like let's go, this goes there, that goes there, like she starts it breaks her down really bad. Like when I cook, if I'm doing like a 3-course meal, I have to time shit just right, and I have to smell and I have to see and kind of taste and okay, this goes here, that goes here. Stresses her the fuck out. She stays out of the kitchen when I'm cooking because she's like, you make amazing food, but your process of doing everything all at once is stressful. And I'm just like, well, I have to do it all at once, otherwise it's going to be cold by the time each portion gets to the plate. So you have to just learn how to do it. It's like my job. Your wife has a job in an office and finances, and that's what it's like, man. You got to be on point. Every hour of the day, no fucking around. You gotta have those
numbers correct.
Get them shits correct.
One little thing with her, if she's off, it's like a domino effect, right?
Yeah, it fucks up your whole day.
Then you gotta go all the way back to the root of the problem.
Yeah,
and start all over. Yep.
Yeah, it fucks up your whole week when you make a mistake like that.
She's told me a lot of times, like the other, some employees are like off by like because they do their budgeting, the fiscal, for the fiscal year, and sometimes they're off like $2 million because of one little number that they put in wrong.
One clerical error. Oh yeah, and that is so crazy. Stressful, dude. Like you don't know the stress of opening your email. Like, okay, here's the scenario, right? You played gigs all weekend before, right? You had to eat crow and eat shit, mess up chords, right? deal with clients, deal with people, make sure everyone got paid, get your ass home, try to recover from that. Right? Maybe do some more work, check your emails, get your ass up in the morning, go into the office, open up your email, and then your fucking first email you see is, we have a problem, and you start looking at all this email of people pointing fingers at everybody else, and you're just like, fuck.
Yeah, because everybody overlooked everything all of a sudden. All the way to the top.
How did it get to this point? It's like, well, because 12 people in the process didn't read the damn thing before it got to someone who actually pays attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now that person who pays attention has got to, for some reason, fix it. So yeah, so adding to the monument of excuses of why I missed chords in scene B and fucking Relampago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I was in 5 dimensions away from where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
I was totally outspacing. I was thinking about Monday. I was thinking about everything, man. So many things on that gig.
Wow.
So Mr. Flores, here, Mr. Newfound Mariachi teacher. Ready for my lecture and my beating. All right, let me get set. All right.
No, it's not going to be a beating.
Go ahead.
It's more like wherever I'm going on guitarron, follow me.
Yeah.
Follow me.
Follow where you're going.
If you don't know where you're going, listen to the changes. You're very good at that.
Yeah.
You're very good at that.
I just wasn't listening.
When and the thing for all our viewers, we leave our problems at home.
We should.
Mariachi music for us should be a relief.
Yeah.
A release of everything. Even if you're still mad, take it on your freaking instrument, man. You know, just blow the hell out of your trumpet. Play the hell out of your instrument. Y vámonos, you know. I think mariachi music should be soul healer, you know. It just whatever we're going through, because we have all our stresses. We have our stresses at home. We have our stresses at work. You know, my kids sometimes drive me crazy. You know, it's just financial issues, whatever it is. I think mariachi definitely should be, just an escape.
You're being paid for a performance, so yeah,
you gotta show up. The people are paying you to entertain. Yep. You have to put on that smile. You have to be happy to be there.
Yes.
If you're not, you're in the wrong business, my friends.
Yeah, the show
Get
business. Out. It's called show business for a reason. The show must go on.
And all it takes is one person to make it, to be the downer of the whole entire group, right? And then he's not happy to play here. He sounds like it, so then it's just like
I was in a good mood. I was just
definitely.
And then you were late, and I'm like, God damn it! He's like, I'll literally be there
in 3 minutes. And then you're like,
10 minutes later, I'm like, it's literally 10 minutes from this text. Where the fuck are you?
It took me, God, I don't know where.
That's the thing about this city, man. It's like we were late last Saturday starting because like the Apple Maps took our Tucson guys that we hired like to totally different spots, and I'm like, fucking Phoenix strikes again, man.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's stressful, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, fuck, that means we're gonna start late. I was like, okay,
yeah.
But here's the thing about trying to manage a group. I'm no music director. I don't carry that title, but it's my responsibility to do this gig thing now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So one of the clients at the succeeding gig wanted us to start like as soon as possible, like 7:30. I'm like, we have from 6 to 7, and the time that it'll take to get there, I knew it was 20 minutes away. Now I could have been greedy, and I could have said, let's start right at 7:30. We'll get it. No, you're not. No. Shit happens. So I told her, I said, we're gonna probably start at 7:45 at the earliest because we need time. You know, I just know. This is happen.
You can't just. You're not just gonna all of a sudden leave a gig if you didn't get paid. You gotta wait on the client.
Yeah.
People still gotta put their stuff away. Nobody's just gonna throw their instruments in the back seat. Vámonos.
Yeah.
You know.
You can't do that.
Well, at least the people that respect their instruments, because.
Yeah, some people do. You gotta kick that in, and so yeah, we got to the next gig on time. We started on time. It wasn't a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had been kind of a more inexperienced person with time management, scheduling people, that whole thing is a stressful skill set to have, as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a director out there, or you're managing a group, you need to consider that. Okay, it's an added burden that you're not going to necessarily get compensated for, but you need to understand the geography of the place that you're living in, right? Understand if you're taking gigs in Phoenix versus Chandler and you're booking them a half hour apart, you're putting your guys in a bad position. Because if you start
you're
late,
putting your business in a bad position.
Your business is going to suffer. Now, we got there on time. Guess what? Lady's like, hey, they wanted another hour. And I was like, I'm like, one of our guys had another gig, and two of our guys have to go back to Tucson. I said, we would love to, but we really can't.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, okay, well, no problem, I understand, but thanks for saving the day. Like that's what we're doing for most of these families. Like, they're saving up their money all year round to have this event, and you got to show up and take all the requests and play all the songs and do what you got to do to get it going. And yeah, it's been working out so far good. We'll see how it continues to work out.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna. I think it'll continue to work if the group stays, if the group stays solid, and really it's just not getting discouraged. And I was talking to a couple of guys here in Phoenix that they're running groups, and it's like, yeah, that's the hardest part. Is like most of the directors up here have been just over it, dealing with people, dealing with clients, dealing with their own group members. They just have it up to here, and it's like, okay, well then that group dies, or it doesn't progress as much as it probably would have, And yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna stop. People keep calling. I'm like, I'll keep booking gigs. You guys want to get paid, right? Mm-hmm. You want to have good times and play good music and get paid.
Don't do it like I did. I like triple booked myself and.
Oh yeah, I wasn't gonna bring that shit up. I don't really care. Well, I'm like, what?
But I triple. Yeah,
what
no. Don't guys, make sure you don't triple book yourself, because then you're gonna get yourself in a big hole.
You see, there's this really cool thing called cell phones.
And the calendars
on these cell phones. There's this thing called an app, and amongst some of these apps are a thing called a calendar. And then typically you get to save your emails and your text messages. And it's a really useful tool.
I know. I need to learn how to use it. Maybe we can go over that on our next podcast.
I'll teach you guys how to optimize the use of your cell phones to run a group and to manage your brand. Because I think individually, and that's really what I'm into. A lot of people. Oh shit, we've been talking for an hour.
Yeah.
We'll wrap this up pretty close with this next one. A lot of people ask me like, what's my political, whatever. I'm into people. I'm not into groups. I'm not into, well, this is Vargas, this is Nuevo. I'm into the people that are in those groups, right? Mm-hmm. If you have good people, you're going to have a good group. If you're selective, right? A lot of the politics these days are not about being selective. They're about being inclusive. And I'm like, you got to be careful about how you use that word. Yes, we're all welcoming. Everybody please try, right? Everybody aspire, right? Work, right? But individually, people are going to make a cut and people are not going to make a cut based on their level of commitment and ability. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm sorry, that's just how it goes. So I'm into the people, the individuals. Every one of these individuals that are listening to this podcast and that follow our channel and follow my stuff, you're an individual, your brand, right? Your word. If you take a gig and then you dump it for more hours for somebody else, that's your brand. Short-term gains, like I got paid an extra $200, score. Mm-hmm. Long-term effects of your brand is, that guy's kind of a flake. Your individual brand is what sells you. Like you're a singer, and you're a rhythm player. You have an individual brand. You have a good demand for it because you're not a shyster and you don't screw people over. And when you triple book yourself, you send people that can cover your spot.
That was a first for me that I've ever done that.
Yeah, but you wear the stress of your brand because you don't want that to suffer.
No.
If you were like, I just can't do it, go find someone else. Sorry. It's like, well, that's your brand, right? I've had a lot of great mentors in school and in work, right? Because people who get to high levels of positions in corporate America, they got there for reasons, right? Not everybody is silver spoon entitled, here you go. A lot of people are self-made. And those people that I've had as mentors will tell you, your personal brand is everything. You can always make money. Money is out there. Money is cheap. It's always going to be there, right? It's how you manage your brand and how you conduct yourself when you're in the public view, right? When you're in a meeting, when you're in a group, when you're at a rehearsal, when you get called to do a concert and you're going to get paid to do a conference or whatever, that's your brand time, man. You're clocked in. You got to get it done. How you correspond with people on a daily basis, of gigs, this, that, the other. If you make commitments you can't keep. I try to avoid that. I've been guilty of that myself. I'm like, yeah, I can cover that. I can do that. I can do. And then by the end of the week, I'm in this stressful mode of I got to get so much shit done, and I'm biting everybody's head off. You know, it's not good for my wife and my mother and my family, my friends, and you know, if I'm acting like a douchebag because I overextended myself, which I'm very guilty of. Like, hi, I'm very guilty of.
Apologize to your wife and your mom.
I'm so sorry, Mom. Mostly my mom, because she's bared the true burden. She's probably listening to this. She has bared most of the burden of my over ambitiousness and my attitude of like, let's go get it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's do it. Which is technically her fault because she raised me that way, so I don't know why I'm apologizing.
Good job, Mama.
But yeah, your brand, that's a big deal.
Definitely.
Any last words, Miguel, before I lose my voice today?
No, I think our next podcast, we're definitely going to hit up on Dia de la Virgen, which is obviously a big day for, you know, for mariachis as well.
Very much so.
And you know, just like Mother's Day, you know, it's like that. And then I think we should definitely hit, you know, more on the I want to hear the Christmas stuff, you know. Viewers, if you can put your opinion, whose Christmas album do you like better, Los Camperos or Sol de Mexico's? And I know Sol de Mexico's coming out with a new one too here.
They are?
So I don't know. Fascinating.
I had to switch real quick there. So, my initial response was, another one? Shit.
Anyways, you guys have a very wonderful week. Thanksgiving is already next week. Yeah. Please have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Take gigs.
Eat lots.
Some food.
Don't eat too much turkey porque luego se van a dormir.
Yeah, man. You know? Get that itis.
The pumpkin pie.
Oh, man.
Pumpkin everything right now, right?
I'm not going back to Tucson. So we're staying home. There's just too much. We got sick. It's like, no, man. Let's just stay here. And we have plenty of work to get done before the semester's over. It's like, no. But yeah, it's good.
You should come Thanksgiving with us.
What are you guys doing?
We're going to be here. Oh, yeah.
We'll see. I was going to make some pumpkin risotto.
Nice.
I like to cook.
Well, bring it to
your spot.
Bring it to our spot.
Yeah, and then the day after, I got a friend of mine, a business partner, coming in, and we're going to be working on another more work for Jason.
Yeah.
See, Jason likes to work.
Yeah, and that's why he's all stressed out, and then he goes out to the gigs and
can't play shit. Can't play anything. Pucks up Relampago on the end of this. Oh my god, that was embarrassing.
All right, guys.
All right,
enjoy yourselves.
Thank you guys for the
Play
viewers.
Mariachi, guys.
Please follow us on Facebook at Play Mariachi. Share it with everybody out there in California, Texas, all you mariachi people out there. Spread the word. Just two assholes from Arizona talking about mariachi, so it's all fun. Thanks so much, and have a good week.